Japanese minimalism. Is it true that every Japanese household looks so squeaky, clean, minimalistic, just as we see it on YouTube or social media? I had the pleasure to live in Japan twice in my life for a longer period of time. I'd visit many Japanese homes, apartments. I can confirm this is not the case. Hi, I'm Patti, and today I'm going to talk about Japanese minimalistic households that we see on social media, on YouTube, actually everywhere. When you think Japan, you think this wabi-sabi, perfect, squeaky clean, very mindful design. If you talk about food, everything is just like presented very minimalistic, pretty, and it's not colorful, overwhelmed. Like, for example, as you think about Chinese food is like big, colorful, lots of it. The contrast is just Japanese presenting. They have this, meals. Everything has its own compartment. Foods don't touch each other. It's just so perfect. But is it true that this is the case for like everyday human being living in Japan? Is it true that their houses, homes, the space where they live, which most of the time, especially if you live in the city like Tokyo, Kyoto, does your apartment looks like that? Does every apartment looks basically just tatami floors, one futon, maybe a little desk, computer, 1 to 3 books, because not more, God forbid, because minimalist, everything has to serve the purpose. And that's it, basically. You know what? No, that's not the case. Regular Japanese people, they have cluttered houses. Not everybody, obviously, but they do have cluttered houses, especially if they have family, especially if they have like children and they live in the city, in the apartment. They need to use the space. And yes, Japanese also love their things. They love having things. If it's cluttered, it's like organized clutter. It's not like completely messy. You walk through the pile of things or trash. No, that's not the case. What is portrayed on YouTube, social media, you have to understand this is created most of the time for our pleasure. It's a content that we people, me included, we love watching it. We're enjoying this slow, peaceful living. Everything done is intentional. Even, this, you get a cutting board and you cut this carrot, potato, and it's just like so slow, minimalistic. It serves the purpose. You know what I mean? Okay, you know what I mean. Come on, Japan is everything, okay? It's not only this one, wide and gray trend. Talking Shinjuku, Shibuya, Harajuku, because they are very colorful. That's mess, this beautiful mess, but like a controlled one, and I love it. I literally used to love going to Shibuya. It's this a little bit of excess, all these neons, banners. Me and my husband, we lived in Shinjuku, so very busy area. And if you go to the center near the train station, yeah, it's clutter, but I love it. It works, and it's quite cool. Opposite to this is this minimalistic wabi-sabi aesthetic, very like Zen, which when we go back to the history, culture of Japan. I had this pleasure of studying Japanese literature, history, culture, and language for 3 years at the uni. Yeah. And yes, it all goes back, for example, to Shinto belief, which is, Shinto, it's closer to the nature. Hence, for example, designs, they like to use the oldest kind of natural wooden designs in this traditional household. Buddhist, Zen, wabi-sabi, all this, like simplicity, mindfulness, being mindful about the things that you own, and the interior, the surroundings that you are, finding, this perfection in the imperfection, kintsugi, which is this art of fixing things with this golden glue. For example, you break a pot and then you don't throw it away, you just try to glue back the pieces. This is beautiful. So find this beauty in imperfection, which you can see in Japan. If you go to Japan, you go to the temples, for example, or this traditional, like maybe like izakayas, tea ceremony. Yeah, you will see like tea ceremony is just like every gesture matters, every turn matters, everything matters, everything has a meaning. I think this is what, when West came to Japan, when Japan kind of opened, or reopened, or rather opened, what they saw in the beginning, and it was something very exotic, a little bit different than in the West. Aesthetic still stays strong among the Westerners and among probably the whole of the world. They think about Japan and Japan aesthetics and design. We think more like more empty spaces, very meaningful, very monochrome, white or brown or gray. There's no excess. But if we go to a regular household, there is excess, there is clutter, there are stuffs like lying on the floors, and sometimes, they have no meaning. Important to mention that in Japanese culture, it's not as often or, regular to invite people to your home, apartment. No, this is not the case. It's reserved more for like very close friends, people. So it's not just like somebody just randomly, pops into your house. When Westerners were coming to Japan, they were not as often, invited to the houses of regular people just to go and, just sit in my house and we just chill, drink some tea. There was no chance to see the actually, like a household, how the household lives. In the 90s, one photographer, and he took his camera, and he has this project of going to people's apartments in Tokyo and taking pictures of the rooms. Shock, because the rooms were completely not minimalistic. They were cluttered. The artist Kyoichi Suzuki, the book called Tokyo Style. His idea was to just show rooms of regular people living in Tokyo. If you're interested in this topic, I'd say I highly recommend to either check the book or find some even pictures online, whatever is available. But it's quite interesting, and it's quite different perspective, showing that yes, Japanese are also, messy or non-minimalistic as we think. We have it imprinted in our mind. In my opinion, also this boom for Japanese minimalism, it also starts like 2010s, 2015 onwards, was aligned with millennial love towards minimalism and, declutter your life, etc. So here comes this Japanese minimalist, and it was really nicely aligned with, what people wanted, like overall in the West. And they say like, hey, Japan has this, concept, philosophy, let's just take it, use it, it's amazing. Here comes also Marie Kondo. Marie Kondo, if you don't know her, she was just this, sparkling joy lady who showed how to have this nice organized household, how to declutter and throw away things that don't spark joy. Kind of Martha Stewart of Japan. The West immediately like, oh, this is amazing. So they took her book, translated it, and they were like, I remember like dozens of articles about her and her method, and she had her, I think, Netflix series about that, right? So she went to America and helped declutter the lives of Americans. This boom, this, you just, surfing on this wave of minimalism, and Japanese minimalist seems to be like superior towards everything else. It's worth to mention, maybe it's just like a funny thing, that Marie Kondo and other people like her in Japan, because they were, many of them during that time, they were aiming Japanese audience. Why? Because they thought they needed it. Why? Because average Japanese person does not live like that, okay? So they need to declutter methods of minimalism, promoting and going back to, design roots and cultural roots, wabi-sabi, Zen, Shinto, etc. They were used to promote this Japanese minimalism and to teach regular Japanese person how to declutter your life from the clutter that you might have. If every Japanese person household was, minimalistic, Marie Kondo wouldn't, exist as a Marie Kondo concept, because she would have basically no job. I think that recently, because, world is evolving and everything is changing, I think that this a little bit of excess, or let's call it messy or non-minimalistic approach, or let's say like controlled clutter, as I like to call it, is coming back. Millennial minimalism, we saying like a little bit bye-bye. It still stays strong, but I think it's stopping this kind of like portrayed as sterile one. It's more with these cozy elements, and it's basically changing, which is a good thing, because I'm more a fan of this controlled cluttered. I like it. I like when you see that you enter a room and you see that people live here. So not everything is just perfectly done. Yes, let's appreciate that aesthetic of Japanese minimalism in design. I appreciate it a lot. I love watching those videos, as I said before, or just looking at the pictures and maybe putting even elements in my home. But what is important to realize that most of the time when we see that kind of content is curated, or that person lives that kind of life for the, to create the content. This is his job most of the time. The reality for majority doesn't look like that. And this is fine. It's just like the styles of drawing, painting. Not everybody has the same style. We might appreciate the one, enjoying looking at it, but it's also worth to know and to realize this is not like common, and this is not everybody. In the end, it goes back to what we like watching and what sparks joy in our life.